My friends, rejoice! For the third year in a row, and coming a little later than some of us expected, publishers and developers far and wide virtually congregated to show off the latest in all things first-person, retro, old-school, throwback, boomer, whatever nickname offends you the least shooters, along with some other cool stuff. That's right, Realms Deep returned and put some good marketing dollars to use. In today's video, I'll be recapping some of the major game announcements and the game announcements in the show that got me the most excited. Now, while there was an awesome variety of games shown, I'm just going to be focusing on the FPS titles as I do feel they are the main draw of this event, and well, they are the focus of this channel. So sit back, kick up your feet, and get ready to look ahead. Starting things off, we'll touch on a company who for many are the main event of Realms Deep. That's right, New Blood Interactive. Things kicked off with a launch trailer of Gloomwood, sneaking in a peek at the new enemy variant, the Armored Guard, and the announcement that the Blood Moon difficulty is coming soon. I just reviewed Gloomwood and adored it, so any new content coming has me all sorts of giddy. Following that, we got a lengthy gameplay trailer for Medieval's long-awaited DLC, Black Labyrinth, showing off the new weapons like the blood-splatting gauntlets and scythe. Everything in this trailer looked tremendous, which is why I can't help but feel a little irked we haven't gotten a release date yet, but I'm optimistic we won't be waiting too much longer for this one. Otherwise, it was a pretty light showing from New Blood. Sure, we just had Gloomwood and Act 2 of Ultrakill drop, but I was surprised there wasn't any word on Dusk HD, which I thought they might drop for Realms Deep. Next to that, there was nothing on Fallen Aces, and no news on their upcoming top-down shooter, Fallout-like, and car combat game. The car combat game I'm especially interested in because I grew up playing the Twisted Metal series, and I'm curious what New Blood's take on it will be.
But we're not ready to talk about those games just yet.
Damn it, Dave. But one nice surprise from the show is that New Blood, along with 3D Realms and Night Dive Studios, are helping to remaster Rise of the Triad. Originally directed by Tom Hall following his departure from id Software, and initially envisioned to be a follow-up to Wolfenstein 3D, Rise of the Triad has remained a favorite among old-school shooter diehards. On top of various improvements, this ludicrous edition will feature remastered art and cutscenes, multiplayer, and multiple soundtracks. And what's kinda cool here is that New Blood's founder, Dave Oshry, was actually the co-director on Rise of the Triad's 2013 reboot. Kind of a feeling of things coming full circle-ish. No release date yet other than soon, but this new version will be coming to all consoles as well as PC. Publisher Retrovibe made an appearance, first showing off a handful of compelling non-FPS games. Ooh, that Sacrifier is kinda calling to me. And then gave us a peek at Impaler, a wave-based horde shooter where you get to impale monsters. But the biggest piece of news, in my opinion, was on Project Warlock 2. Warlock 2 recently stormed into early access, and while many Warlock fans were mostly happy with it, me included, there has been a lot of feedback concerning the game's level design, which many noted was just too damn big and confusing to navigate. And while Buckshot has been hard at work and quick to address these issues, and indeed there has been patches that have improved things, it appears they are taking a larger step in redesigning the 6 initial levels into 12. It's a hell of a move, and hopefully this latest revamp will get Chapter 1 to a point everyone is satisfied with. Either way, you have to appreciate the hustle of this team. Beyond that, we got a sneak peek at the upcoming Chapter 2, Erd's Revenge, where we'll get to play as a new warlock and rampage through levels with a Wild West theme. The Chapter 2 update is slated for this winter. There's no word yet on when the Chapter 1 update is coming, but you can play Warlock 2 right now in early access.
Oh, nice one, Hyperstrange. That's your plan to keep that overwhelmingly positive Steam score? Great post-release support, assholes. What the?
Next up, we have Hyperstrange, who right out of the gate announced a horde mode for Postal Brain Damaged, the boomer shooter take on one of the most twisted FPS franchises out there. Always happy to have more reasons to pee on stuff. Following that, they showed off a trailer for Incision, which released into early access the opening day of Realms Deep. If you want to know my thoughts on that game, sit tight, something's coming soon. Ghostware is a story-driven FPS where you are trapped in an abandoned competitive arena shooter from the late 90s, in the vein of something like Quake 3, and must escape it with the help of the other players trapped within it as well. I actually played the demo for this in the last Steam Next Fest, and while it didn't grab me enough to be in my top 5, I did dig it, and found its premise compelling. I could see this one potentially being a sleeper for the retro shooter community. 77p Egg Wife looks interesting. A game that's one part Postal 2, another part Goat Simulator, and a whole lot of psychedelics. I admit, I do enjoy me a twisted jank fest every now and then, and this looks very twisted and very janky. I'm probably gonna end up playing this just because I'm so damn curious. Suppless finally got a release date of March 30th, 2023. I've played the demo for this sci-fi shooter made in GZ Doom several times now, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. So far. We have a little bit of a wait left for it, but I'm glad the end is finally in sight.
There are many barren lands. We have cleansed just one of them.
But what I am most excited about was the announcement of Blood West's content update, The Swamps. Blood West was one of my favorite surprises of this year. A Wild West survival horror FPS, where stealth and brutality win the day. The Chapter 2 update is due this Halloween, and you bet I'm gonna be in there shooting zombies with arrows as soon as it drops. Fulqrum had some solid announcements for the Deep. For anyone going, Fulqrum who? They are formerly 1C Entertainment. Rebranded. New name, same games. For their FPS offerings, they got things started with a trailer for Diluvian Ultra, an eccentric sci-fi shooter where you play as a space prince who uses organic weaponry to defeat meddlesome invaders. No date on this yet, but it should be hitting early access before the end of the year. Hyperviolent is a horror shooter that seems to take heavy inspiration from titles like System Shock, but with a more gory, horrific twist. I actually played a demo for this about a year ago, and despite it being in a very early state, I found the premise of it pretty intriguing and its horror sensibilities effective. To me, it felt like an alternate reality game where id Software developed System Shock instead of Looking Glass, or maybe if Looking Glass developed Doom instead of id. Either way, judging by this trailer, Hyperviolent looks to be coming along beautifully, and I'm eager to get my hands on it when the time comes for early access very soon. Perhaps in time for the spooky season. But what had me jumping for joy was the sneak peek at the full release content for Dread Templar, which was one of my favorites of last year. A well-rounded boom shoot with great mechanics and an upgrade system that lets you match the game to your playstyle. I've enjoyed all the post-release updates for this game thus far, and the new Egyptian levels look ripe for some sandy slaughter. If only they had that release date for it. I want this now. So far in this video, I've been focusing on the showcases, which doesn't really give the full picture of Realms Deep. Plenty of individual announcements seasoned the show, either from small studios or larger ones that simply had one game to show off. In this section, I'll be going through the singular game announcements that grabbed me the most, and I'm happy to say some of these we'll be able to play very soon. Tokyo Underground Killer is a comic book-inspired FPS hack and slash, where you stylishly slice up baddies with your samurai sword in the neon streets of the bustling Japanese metropolis. Judging by this trailer, this title oozes style and doesn't seem afraid to get a little silly. But what has me hyped is that this game will feature 1 hour of original electronic music by Andrew Hulshult, composer of A Medieval, Proteus, Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods, and of course, Dusk. And any of you familiar with Andrew's work knows he can shred a synthesizer as hard as he shreds a guitar. Tokyo Underground Killer is slated for release in 2023.
Our intelligence has received word of a disaster from one of the power stations. This looks very much like the actions of the Time Strikers.
Cult shooter Chasm the Rift is getting a remaster. I'll be honest, I've never played this, and judging from what other people have said about it, I have a hard time understanding if this is an underrated gem or something so bad it's good. But after watching Civi's take on it recently, remarking on its masterful Slav jank qualities, I'd say it was enough to convince me to take the plunge. And with this remaster, I'll have the perfect excuse. I won't have long to wait either. Chasm the Rift will be dropping in just a few weeks, October 10th, 2022.
I was just supposed to take care of some bugs downtown. And this whole thing has turned into a lot more than I bargained for.
Last Exterminator basically looks like a parody of Duke Nukem and other 90s shooters, where you play as an exterminator who has to fight off an alien invasion. On the nose Duke references aside, this looks like a lot of fun, and the main character kinda reminds me of Tig Notaro, who you might know from Army of the Dead and Star Trek. I'm into it, throwing it on the wishlist. I love the Silent Hill series. Labyrinth of the Demon King looks a lot like Silent Hill. That's enough for me to want to play it. Labyrinth is a first-person survival horror game set in a world reminiscent of feudal Japan. You are challenged to find your way through the labyrinth of the Demon King, fighting monsters, solving puzzles, and likely getting the wits scared out of you. Crossing my fingers we'll have this one by Halloween. A date for the full release of Proteus was announced, and as of this video's publishing, you should be able to play it, well, now. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get to the full release for a proper review, but up to this point, I've had nothing but glowing praise for what Bounding Box has put out so far. And with the announcement that Proteus is also heading to consoles, I'm happy more people are finally going to be able to play it. See you in Deathmatch, everybody. I discovered Deadlink from playing its demo in the last Steam Next Fest, and it was my favorite demo of the whole event. What makes it so much fun? Simple. Take the mechanics and feel of Doom Eternal and place it within a deep roguelite structure. And what I can confirm from playing the demo is that that combination works beautifully and is quite addicting. If you missed the Next Fest demo, I'm happy to inform the game will be releasing into early access next month, October 18th. Get ready to feel alive in Deadlink.
You chose exile in search of penance, in place of revenge.
There's a lot of cyberpunk shooters out there that let you run on walls and rain down bullets in slow-mo to a bassy soundtrack. But for whatever reason, Sprawl just seems so fresh and irresistible. Is it the more grounded, gritty setting and the graphics that are one foot in retro and another in modern? Or have I just played enough of these games to recognize gunplay that's gonna make me go, "Ah, this is awesome!" Either way, Sprawl has me all sorts of excited. When's it coming? No clue, but I hope the next time I see it is when it's running on my PC. Compound Fracture is a first-person survival horror game that bites huge chunks of inspiration from the Dino Crisis series. What I love most here is that the game so far perfectly captures the wobbly, pixel crunchy look of PS1 rendering, but also elevates it with beautiful atmospheric lighting, bits of intricate detail, and dare I say, scope. It looks beautiful and terrifying. Frustratingly, there doesn't seem to be any indication of when we're going to be able to play it. Hopefully I'll get the chance to fend off some clever girls sooner than later. Last, but very far from least, we have 3D Realms, who took many by surprise with their showcase. First off, Cultic, the spiritual successor to Blood, has a release date for early access, October 13th, just in time for Halloween. I was fortunate to play the demo for this early not too long ago during Steam Next Fest, and I had a blast with it. If you want to know more about my thoughts on that, check out my video linked below. Graven, the dark fantasy FPS that harkens to old school gems like Hexen, received a trailer and its second major content update, with a host of new additions like quests, enemies, and a new area. Graven had a decent start to its early access, but otherwise has been through quite the development, with some behind the scenes shakeups and rocky fan feedback. While I'm likely going to hold off making another Graven video until the final version is released, I have been playing around in the new content update, and I'm happy to say the game is feeling a lot tighter and polished, and the new additions and changes so far feel right on the money. Sadly, no date for the full release yet, but for anybody that already has the early access build, pop back in there and give it a look. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Ever since I put out my video on Wrath over a year ago, the dark fantasy FPS powered by the Quake engine, I've seen a pretty consistent stream of comments on it from people certain it was cancelled, as Wrath's development has been long, with the finish line being pushed back numerous times. In all fairness, COVID did slow things down, and the developers have kept a steady stream of communication, sharing their progress with bi-weekly updates on Steam. But seeing as this game has been in early access since November 2019, it's understandable why some are impatient, especially when you consider there are console versions of this game planned as well. Which is why I couldn't help but cringe a little when we were given a release window instead of a hard date for the final release. But at least we got a glimpse of some of the new levels and weapons coming our way. Despite the less than ideal development, I still really enjoyed the initial Wrath early access build, and am optimistic this game will stick the landing. I just want the landing to happen when they say it will. Finally, we have what is probably the biggest surprise of all of Realms Deep, Phantom Fury. Developed by Slipgate Ironworks, Phantom Fury is a fully 3D follow-up to 2019's Ion Fury, a game notable for being the first commercial product made in the build engine in 20 years. Once again, we'll play as Shelly Bombshell, who has recently come out of coma with a shiny new robot arm and is thrust into a hyper-violent adventure of explosions, shell casings, and off-road vehicles, with the promise of over 20 weapons, lots of unlockable skills and upgrades, and highly interactive environments. And I gotta say, this is kinda looking like the Duke Nukem Forever we never got. Well, okay, I guess we kind of did. But what was probably the most surprising thing about this trailer was the appearance of John Blade from Sin, suggesting both Ion Fury and Sin have been consolidated into one universe. Everything about Phantom Fury looks awesome, but its announcement begs the question. Hey, where's Ion Fury Aftershock? You know, the Ion Fury DLC that was announced during the first Realms Deep, slated for release in 2021 and then delayed into 2022. 2022, which is rapidly coming to a close. And while we're at it, where's the Sin remaster that was also announced in the first Realms Deep? Did we just decide to smush these two things together and make a whole new game? Oh, and before we forget, where's the Kingpin remaster that was also announced alongside Sin? Well, as far as I know, Ion Fury Aftershock is still coming, but as far as these remasters are concerned, your guess is as good as mine. Regardless, Phantom Fury was a welcome surprise, and it's fun to see 3D Realms not only expand on the Fury franchise, but also expand upon the dormant Sin one. Phantom Fury is slated for release in 2023. Hopefully, we won't be waiting until 2024. There you have it! Another Realms Deep in the books. What did you think of this year's Realms Deep? And what titles have you the most excited? And is there anything you're looking forward to that I didn't talk about in this video? Be sure to let me know down in the comments. If you dug the video, please be sure to subscribe, like, share, and smack that bell. If you want to come say hi, my Discord is linked below, along with my affiliate links. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.